Welcome to the Madison Miller podcast. Today's guest is our horse racing analyst. He was here 2 weeks ago for the Derby. He's back for the Preakness. Jeff Byrnes, how are you doing on this fine Friday morning?
I'm doing good, Madison. It's happy Preakness week, and looks like we're gonna get some good weather in Baltimore. It looked like it might be another washout like Derby Day, but looks like the weather's gonna be cleared up for Saturday, so that's always a good thing.
Yes, that's always a good thing. All right, so 9 horses in the Preakness this year. I feel like the Preakness is usually like 7 or 8, but 9 makes sense. All right, so let's get right to it. The one horse is Goal Oriented, Bob Baffert's horse, 6-1 on the morning line. Tell us about Goal Oriented.
So goal-oriented for Bob Baffert, jockey Flavia Pratt will be aboard him. The interesting, he does draw the one post for Bob Baffert. This is the second straight Triple Crown race that he gets the one post, like he did with Citizen Bowl in the Kentucky Derby. Goal-oriented is still fairly new to the racing scene. He just made his career debut back at Santa Anita on April 6th of earlier this year in a 6-furlong sprint in which he came from off the pace and won going away. It was actually a pretty impressive field. A couple of the horses that he beat in that race came back to win their next starts. He got a 91 Byrnes speed figure, which is pretty good for his first career race. But then his next race came at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby Day early in the card in a mile and a 16th allowance race in which he faced some horses that ran on the Triple Crown Trail, and he went to the lead in that race and went wire to wire. Won at a good time, 142 for a mile and 16. That's a good time, and they're wheeling him back right away 2 weeks later for the Preakness. Interestingly enough, the original plan for the connection was to enter Rodriguez, who was supposed to run it in the Kentucky Derby, but unfortunately scratched with a foot problem. Those foot problems have still lingered, so he wasn't entering the Preakness, and they decided to enter this horse, Goal Oriented, instead. Now, he does have speed from the one post, and he's going to have to use that speed. So there is a lot of speed to his outside, and he's going to have to go from the rail. Flavia Pratt has done a good job aboard him in his last couple starts, so the Preakness will be his third race in about a month and a half, so it's a lot to ask for him, especially coming onto the scene this early. So, considering all the busy time frame and considering all the speed is outside, it's gonna be feast or famine. I could see him winning this race, but I could also see him running off the board. So, gonna be interesting to see which horse shows up on Saturday.
All right, and supposedly Goal Oriented is undefeated, so that's good to note. Journalism from the Kentucky Derby, 8-5 favorite. Let's talk about journalism and journalism's chances here to win the Preakness.
So journalism, yes, does wheel back from the Kentucky Derby 2 weeks ago. He did finish second behind Sovereignty, who unfortunately is not running in this race this week. The connection to Sovereignty decided to wait for the Belmont Stakes. Did come out of that race a little bit banged up. So he is going to wait for the Belmont, but journalism is back for the Preakness. And he does get a smaller field, which I think is a good thing for him. He did face 8 other horses in the Kentucky Derby and probably was a little bit farther back the connections that originally wanted him to be. He was around 11th and 12th, so around the pace, and he did make a big sweeping move on the far turn, taking the lead at the top of the stretch before eventually being overrun by Sovereignty. I thought he actually ran a really good race in the Kentucky Derby, but I think he did move. Alberto Rispoli, who will be back aboard him in the Preakness, I thought maybe moved a little bit too early. I thought he could have waited just a little bit longer. Would have made a difference at the end, though. I'm not entirely sure. Still, though, when you look at the scope of this field, I think Journalism still is the best horse in this field compared to speed figure-wise, talent-wise. The question is going to be how fit is he coming back 2 weeks later from the Kentucky Derby. His sire, Curlin, won the 2007 Preakness after running third in the Kentucky Derby, so bloodlines show that he can win this race off a 2-week rest. I mean, as a 2-year-old, he did run it 3 times in a 7-week span, so he definitely has enough fitness and durability to him to where I have a lot of confidence he can handle the quick turnaround. So, barring something unforeseen, Journalism should still definitely be the favorite for this race, and I think it's still the most talented horse in the field.
All right, and Michael McCarthy obviously is the trainer for journalism. I forgot to mention that. American Promise is your 3-horse, 15-1 on the morning line. Dwayne Lucas is the trainer. Tell us about American Promise.
So American Promise, here's another horse coming back from the Kentucky Derby. He didn't run a very good race, though. He did finish 16th of 19 in the Derby that day. Yeah, he didn't really get the best gate break coming out. He got shuffled early on, was forced to rush up by his jockey Dick Juarez. Now, he was third going into the far turn, but faded pretty quickly. I'm not exactly sure how much he handled the muddy track that day, but hopefully with a fast track on Saturday, it should be a lot better for him. It's going to be interesting to see what strategy American Promise has used. Obviously, the smaller field helps, but I could see D-Way Lucas telling Nick Juarez to send this horse to the lead, because this horse does show speed in the past. He's winning the Virginia Derby. He was pressing the leaders, and he was second basically the whole way before turning for home and winning going away. So I could see American Promise on the front end in the Preakness, and if he can get there and set some pretty slow fractions, I think he could definitely be around at the end. I know he's 2 for 10 lifetime, but the talent is there. He just has to put it all together. So Saturday is going to be an interesting test. If he can get to the lead, I think it could be dangerous.
Alrighty, we'll see if American Promise can bounce back from a disappointing Derby. Heart of Honor is your 4-horse, 12-1 on the morning line. Jamie Osborne's the trainer. Tell us about Heart of Honor.
So Heart of Honor, this horse is an overseas runner, born and raised in Great Britain. He's run 6 times in his career. All but one of them have come to a Maidan racecourse in Dubai. Now, he has finished second in 3 straight races, including the UAE Derby, where he was second, beaten only a nose behind Admire Daytona, who ran in the Kentucky Derby 2 weeks ago. Now, Heart of Honor did have the points to qualify for the Derby, but the Connections opted to skip that race and point for the Preakness instead. Now, his jockey, interestingly enough, actually, his trainer Jamie Osborne has sent a couple horses to the U.S. before to some success. So this horse is going to be interesting because he is going to need some pace to chase. Speed figure-wise, can he hold up with this group? I'm not entirely sure. How is he going to handle the trip from overseas? It is going to be interesting to watch. I think this horse does have a lot of talent, so he's never been worse than second in 6 career starts. It's going to be a question, though, of can this horse stay with the competition here in America compared to what he was been facing overseas? I don't think it certainly helps that, finishing second behind Admire Daytona and then him coming back and running not a good race in the Kentucky Derby. So he's going to be a long shot. I would be surprised if he wins on Saturday, but I certainly could see him possibly in the Superfecta, though.
Alrighty. The 5-horse in this race is Pay Billy. Pay Billy was not in the Kentucky Derby. 20-1 on the morning line. One of the longer shots on the board in the Preakness. Michael Gorham is the trainer. Talk about Pay Billy with us.
So Pay Billy, this is the local connections. This horse has been racing in Maryland. It's based in Maryland. And so Michael Gorham is his trainer. This, I believe, is his first Preakness starter. This horse is coming into the Preakness in good form. He's won 4 of his last 5 starts, although all of them have come at Laurel Park in northern Maryland. He has won his last 2 wins have come in stakes competition in the private term stakes on March 22nd, and then the local prep, the Federico Tessio, on April 19th. Now he is one of these horses that's going to show speed early on. Probably going to sit off the pace from American Promise or Goal Oriented, but he's going to have to rely on hopefully a fast early pace, and he is going to have to show a lot more speed and run better speed figures than what he has run in the past. This is by far the toughest competition he's going to be facing. Obviously, he did qualify for the Preakness by winning the Federico Tessio, so Connections definitely want to take a chance. He is going to probably be the longest shot on the board. Workouts have been good. He's just going to have to run much, much faster races than he's run in the past to have a chance in here. And considering the quality of competition, I'll be shocked if he wins on Saturday.
I'd be shocked if it won on Saturday, too. River Thames is next. Irad Ortiz Jr. is the jockey. He's a good jockey. Todd Pletcher, the trainer, 9-2 on the morning line, one of the favorites for this race. tell us about River Thames.
So River Thames, this is for trainer Todd Pletcher, and trainer Todd Pletcher is interesting here because he's won just about every race there is to win in the United States, Canada, and some around the world. But he has never won the Preakness Stakes. He is 0 for 11 in the Preakness, and which is interesting because his program specifically is designed for the Kentucky Derby. But if they don't win the Derby, he usually skips the Preakness and points for the Belmont. So River Thames, this is probably one of his best 3-year-olds in his barn, even though not exactly his best crop of 3-year-olds. But River Thames has run 4 times in his career, won a maiden special weight at Gulfstream Park on January 11th, won an allowance race the following month on February 1st. His 2 stakes performances, though, have been really good. He was second, only beating the nose behind Sovereignty in the Fountain of Youth Stakes, came very close to beating your eventual Kentucky Derby winner that day. And then in the Bluegrass Stakes, he ran behind some really good horses there in Burnham Square and East Avenue, both who competed in the Derby 2 weeks ago. This horse seems to be coming along and getting better with each and every start. My concern for him, though, is that he does run the same speed figures that he has run in his past couple races, and he does need to get faster if he's going to win the Preakness Stakes. I don't think that this should be a problem for him. His sire, McLean's Music, although has primarily been known for being a sprinter/miler kind of sire, he has sired a Preakness winner in the past in Cloud Computing back in 2017. And this horse is giving off vibes that the mile and 3/16, which is just a little bit shorter than a mile and a quarter, shouldn't be a problem. I think Todd Pletcher, this horse did have the points to qualify for the Derby, but ultimately the connection decided to skip the Derby and specifically point for the Preakness instead. I think this is specifically drawn out and designed because I think he has a better chance of winning this race as opposed to the Kentucky Derby. I think it would have been a lot of trouble for him in the Derby. So he gets Irad Ortiz aboard him, which is probably one of the best, if not the best jockey in North America. So River Thames, I know Todd Pletcher has not won this race, but I think this horse has a very good chance on Saturday. With the right trip, I think he is going to get speed to chase. So this horse is definitely in for a shot Saturday.
I agree with you. All right, the 7, Sandman, another one that was in the Derby. Mark Cassay's the trainer, 4-1 on the morning line. Let's talk about Sandman. Oh, another good jockey, John Velasquez.
So Sandman, yes, he's also winning back in 2 weeks. Ran 7th in the Kentucky Derby. Was shuffled to the back early on and seemingly just did not handle the mud at all on Derby day. He seemed like he was struggling a little bit with the track surface. This horse is, again, going to be closing from the back of the pack. He is going to need some speed to chase, so he's going to be relying on horses like American Promise and Goal Oriented and to show some speed in this race. But, the speed figure-wise, he definitely is probably among the best in this field along with journalism. So I think the 2-week turnaround, I don't think should affect them all too much. Mark Cassidy does have a tendency in his career to run horses back quickly because he's on record saying, hey, if the horse is good, just keep running them. As long as they're healthy, just keep running them. So Cassidy did win the Preakness with War of Will back in 2019 after he ran in the Kentucky Derby. So Cassidy definitely is no stranger to this. John Velasquez, this will be the first time aboard Sandman. His original jockey, Jose Ortiz, actually committed to riding Clever Again, who we'll get to in just a second. So John Velasquez, he does have a good record with Mark Cassidy aboard him, and certainly can't get a better upgrade than this for jockey-wise. So Sandman is definitely going to need a pace to chase. I do worry about how he's going to handle the tight turns at Pimlico, but I don't see any reason, as long as he's good, I don't see any reason why he can't be charging down and have a chance to win on Saturday.
All right, Clever Again is the 8 horse. Steve Osserman is the trainer, 5-1 on the morning line. Let's talk about Clever Again. There's so many good horses in this field.
Yes, so Clever Again, to me, I think has maybe the best pedigree to handle this field. His sire, American Pharaoh, horse Triple Crown winner back in 2015, won the Preakness by 8 lengths. It was one of the biggest winning margins of this century. So certainly no problem there. His pedigree, though, is interesting because he does actually lean more turf than he does on dirt. His dam sire, Galileo, was a multiple Group 1 winner in Europe, where they primarily race over turf. But he has handled dirt just fine here in North America. But, Steve Asmussen, this horse pretty much has been just really started getting up and racing again. He began his career back in April of 2024 as an early 2-year-old, where he was second in the main special weight. Then was not seen again for nearly 10 months, where we won a main special weight at Oaklawn Parkway and went wire to wire in that field. He came back a month later in the Hot Spring Stakes, where he took on a Grade 1 horse for Bob Baffert named Gaming, and he put that field away at ease. It was a really impressive performance by wire to wire. He got a very fast fire speed figure in that field. Now, he is going to go a mile and 3/16 compared to the mile he ran in the Hot Spring, so it's a big jump in distance. So, but again, pedigree-wise, he should handle it, and he is going to be among these pace setters, along with American Promise and Goal Oriented. So, Jose Ortiz is going to have a decision to make. Are you going to send him and maybe set a fast early pace, or are you going to sit just off of him? Because his last 2 races have been wire-to-wire wins. He hasn't really shown that he can come from off the pace and pass horses to win. But, honestly, it could be a question of, could this be a race too much too soon for him? Because I think long-term, I think this horse is going to be really good in the second half of the year. Races like the Haskell or the Travers. But this horse, the Preakness is a big jump in class. And so it's going to be interesting to see how he runs on Saturday.
Alrighty. And last but not least, the 9-horse, Gosker. Brandon Walsh is the trainer, 20-1, the morning line. So one of the longer shots on the board. Let's talk about Gosker.
So Gosker, this horse is a newcomer also to the Triple Crown Series. He is coming off a win, an off-the-pace win in the Grade 3 Lexington Stakes at Keeneland, which was a 20-point race for the Derby. Obviously, it wasn't enough to get him into the field. The connections immediately pointed for the Preakness after that race in the Lexington. His jockey, Luis Saez, aboard him. He has a very good jockey. Brendan Walsh is definitely one of the best trainers in North America. This horse is going to be coming off the pace and definitely will benefit from a fast early pace up front early on. I don't think the 9 post is going to hurt him too much because he does come from the back of the pack. Now, my biggest concern with him is that he's pretty slow. He's not a very fast horse, and his speed figures have leaned more towards the slow side of his career. He didn't really particularly get a fast fire speed figure in the Lexington, and when you compare it to horses like Journalism and Goal Oriented, American Promise, and even Clever Again, he's definitely going to have to run a much, much faster race, maybe faster than any of his 3 career starts, if he's even going to have a chance on this field. Now, if he does get pace to chase, I could definitely see him maybe getting into the top 4. It's going to be tough sledding for him, but though. A fun fact about him, though, actually, is he is by Nyquist, who was the Kentucky Derby winner in 2016. His mother, Gloria S., actually is a half-sibling to 2012 Derby and Preakness winner I'll Have Another. So, does have the pedigree and bloodlines to be a really good horse, maybe down the road, but this could be too much too soon for him.
Okay, that's an interesting connection to I'll Have Another, by the way. All right, win, place, show. This is a hard call for me. I'm going to kick it off with you. Who is your pick to win the Preakness 150?
So, usually, if you know me, I'm not particularly fond for picking favorites, but when you look at the field and scope of this field, I think Journalism still is the best horse. So I'm going to go with Journalism. I know it's not, the greatest, sexiest pick, but I just think talent-wise, pedigree-wise, as long as he's bounced out of the Derby in good shape, and given the videos I've seen of him galloping over the Pimlico track, I have no reason to believe he is not in tip-top shape. So Journalism for me on top. It should get pace to chase, and I think he'll win on Saturday.
I agree with you. I'm going with Journalism as well. The pedigree, I'm not a fan of picking favorites either, but I think that Journalism will perform well here. Good spot, so I'm going to go with Journalism as well. I'm going to go first for the place pick. For my place pick, I think Bob Baffert's horse, Goal Oriented, I think could surprise some people here and sneak into the place spot. So I'm going to go with Goal Oriented.
Okay, yeah. I honestly, I think Goal Oriented could run a good race. I just question a little bit, is this too much too soon for him? Because he has been running, this will be his 3rd race in about a month. So it's a good pick on your part. For my place, I'm going to go with the 6, River Thames, for Todd Pletcher. I just really like this horse a lot. I think he's primed to run a big race on Saturday. Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard for him, I think, is a really big pickup mount for him. So River Thames, I think the Connections, they skipped the Derby to stick with the points with this race. So I have no reason to believe he's not sitting on a big one.
And what about your show pick?
My show pick, I will go with the 8 Clever again for jockey Jose Ortiz and Steve Asmussen. I do think it may be a little bit too much too soon. It could be a better horse. He could be a better horse down the line, but I just think overall the talent level is there. And compared to some of the others in here, I think he, pedigree-wise, speed-wise, is much better than these. So I don't know necessarily if he could win, but I definitely could see him a top 3 finish. So I'll go with Clever again for third.
My third place pick, I'm going to go with Todd Pletcher's horse, River Thames. I thought about River Thames for second, but I decided to go with Goal Oriented instead. I'm going to go with River Thames third, but I came close to going with Sandman for show, but I'm going to go with River Thames for show. All right, the Black Eyed Susan. Who is your pick to win the Black Eyed Susan? 9 horses in the field.
So the Black Eyed Susan, I'm going to go with the number 7 horse in that field, named Reply. She's a filly by Curlin, who is a prominent sire of Kentucky. His progeny just loves the Pimlico surface. Curlin himself was a Preakness winner in 2007, but looking at this filly Reply, she is a filly that screams 2 turns, and she won her career debut at Colonial Downs back on March 14th, which was Virginia Derby Day, going a 1-turn mile, won that race impressively. Her last race in the Weber City Mist, which is the local prep for the Black Eyed Susan, her 2-turn debut, but she ran into a bunch of traffic trouble in that race, and by the time she got cleared, it was too late. The winner of that race, Complexity Jane, actually is running on turf on the Preakness Day tomorrow, so it's just an interesting call instead of opting for this race. But Reply, I think she's gonna go an extra 16th of a mile compared to the Weber City Mist, so. Reply for me in the Black Eyed Susan. I think she's a nice filly, and I think has a big future in front of her.
All right, my pick for the Black Eyed Susan, I'm going with Margie's Intention. It's Brad Cox's horse, 3-1 on the morning line. That is the 3 horse in this race. Been placing good these last couple races, and I'm a big Brad Cox fan, so I'm going to go with Margie's Intention for my pick for the Black Eyed Susan. Okay, any other horses you're interested in the field for Saturday?
So looking at the
undercard
on Saturday, one of the races, race 10, the Sir Barton Stakes, and Brad Cox does have another 3-year-old colt by the name of Invictus in this field. Invictus, probably one of the best pedigrees in North America today. His sire, Into Mischief, of course, he's the sire of Sovereignty, the Kentucky Derby winner from this year. His mother, actually, his mare, root mare, is Serengeti Empress, who won the 2019 Kentucky Oaks. So very lovely pedigree on this colt. He's a $1.2 million purchase by Windstar Farm. He's running into the Sir Barton Stakes, his stakes debut, and I think 2 turns is going to be no problem for him. This could be a colt be watched down the line, maybe for races like the Haskell or the Travers. So I think this Invictus and the Sir Barton is certainly one to watch.
Alrighty. Before we go, the last time you were on the podcast was the day of Game 6, Knicks Pistons, and now is the day Jalen Brunson had the game-winning 3 to clinch that series. Will it be a second time in a row where Jeff Byrnes is on the podcast the day of a Knicks Game 6 in a closeout situation? So do you think the Knicks will close out the Celtics tonight, but this time at home?
I think they do. The pressure, I think, more is still on the Celtics to get it done. I know Jason Tatum has got the injury with the Achilles, and that really sucks because I really like Jason Tatum. But,
me too.
I think the Knicks coming back home, I think they're going to play a lot better. I think they got to be a lot more smarter with the ball. I mean, Jalen Brunson can't have 5,000 in the third quarter again because that was ridiculous. But
I know.
But still, I think the Knicks can close it out at home. I think the fan base is going to really be giving a lot of motivation. I mean, obviously, being at home, a chance to close it out for the first time in 25 years, I believe. It's the last time they went to the NBA Finals. Obviously, you got to get to the Eastern Conference Finals first. But I feel like the Knicks are primed for a big run if they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But Game 6, I think they can close it out tonight.
I think the pressure's on the Knicks. I just thought that with Tatum being out, I think there is some pressure on Boston, but more pressure on the Knicks because of Tatum being out, and this is like their golden opportunity. They probably would have been up 3-1 anyway if Tatum didn't get hurt, because that game was on the verge of being over, and then he got hurt. So I think the Knicks close out tonight. Crowd's going to be fired up. I think it's going to be another close game. I would not be shocked if there's a double bang in the game because Mike Breen's going to be on the call. I'm so excited. I love when the Knicks are on ESPN in the playoffs and they get their own announcer calling the games. That's just the beauty of them in the playoffs, especially now that they're good. But I'm excited for tonight, but at the same time, I'm nervous. I think the Knicks get it done, and they'll be taking on a Indiana team, assuming they get by Boston here. If they move on, they're playing Indiana, obviously, who will not be easy by any stretch of the imagination. I am scared of Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana's really good, and Tyrese Halliburton has taken his game to another level here in the postseason. Obviously, the way they defeated the Cavaliers in their series was extremely impressive. And this is a team, they have a championship-winning head coach. I mean, they got a really good team, and I think the Pacers would welcome a rematch with the Knicks. So if the Knicks win tonight and move on, that's going to be a really fun series to watch.
It is. I'm excited for it if the Knicks move on. All right, it was a pleasure to have you on as always, and we'll have you on in 2 more weeks? No, 3 weeks from today will be Belmont, right?
Yep, 3 weeks from Saturday will be the Belmont Stakes. We'll be run for the second year in a row at Saratoga while the renovations continue at Belmont Park. So, unique Belmont, but it was a lot of fun last year, and I'm certain it will be fun again this year.
That's right. I forgot about that. Second year in a row at Saratoga because of the renovations. So that's another storyline for the Belmont. All righty. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks, and let's hope the Knicks close this out tonight.
All right. Thank you, Madison. Always good to talk to you.
All right.